Well, I appreciate y'all being patient with me as I'm learning all about this fancy technology. Today, I want to welcome you to yet another edition of Sarah Says. And today, going to be talking about the concept of forgiveness. And again, I just want to say thanks to everybody for all of the input, all of the ideas and feedback that y'all have been giving me, and that y'all have just made it so wonderful. And hey, Lynn, good to see you today. I'm glad that you are enjoying this. The thing I want to be really clear about is I learned a long time ago that I teach what I most need to know. And so over the course of years, as I've been through my spiritual development journey, I've learned a lot of painful and uncomfortable truths, of which today is particularly, I'm a slow learner. It took me a while to get this one right. For you to fully understand that I didn't just read a good book, you're going to need to go back and watch the first video that tells a little bit about my background and history so that you can understand and appreciate that I have had much to forgive of myself and of other people. And so I hope you get something out of it today. Please remember that this particular workshop is about 30 minutes, and then at the end we'll do Q&A, problem solving. If you need some more personal attention, I work with individuals. It's on a case-by-case basis. I try to work with everybody in whatever way you may need. So let's get started. So let me do a fancy screen share here. And so I want to start with the first thing is that I am not a medical doctor. I am not a licensed mental health professional. I am not a therapist, counselor, psychologist, or psychiatrist. I am a master life coach. I am niche certified in a lot of different areas, including emotional intelligence, spiritual development, um, goal success, a few other things as well. I want to tell you that if you're under the care of a licensed professional and you are in therapy, receiving medication, whatever, please don't change whatever regimen you are on. Please talk to your professional. Any advice I may give you is just for educational and informative purposes. You really need to make sure that what you do is within the bounds of what's good and healthy for you. So I want to start with, I guess, myth busting. I think we all have been raised pretty similarly to learn some things about forgiveness. And in many cases, we've learned what we know about forgiveness, typically from a religious perspective, meaning that in order to forgive, it's about us pardoning the other person. It's about us saying, and women in particular, oh, it's okay. Oh, I'll get over it. Oh, well, it didn't hurt that. I know you didn't mean it. We're making excuses for the other person's behavior. And we've been taught that we're not nice people if we don't forgive and forget, that there's a feeling associated with forgiveness that makes us feel better. And I don't know about you, but I'm not finding that to be true. And for many years, I struggled with what kind of a person am I that I can't achieve this? Clearly, everybody else is doing it. Well, they're not. They've all been faking it because we all felt guilty that if we weren't Christian enough, we weren't loving enough, we weren't a good Catholic, we whatever, fill in the blank, we weren't enough. We weren't good enough, nice enough, whatever, because we were taught a certain thing, that forgiveness was about saying it's okay. Forgiveness is about pardoning the other person's behavior. But I want to tell you that I don't believe that I think forgiveness is about retaking our power, but not in the ways that we have been taught. And I want to start with how we give up our power in relationship to forgiveness. The first thing is, we're waiting for something to happen outside of ourselves. We're waiting for the other person to be punished. We're waiting for the other person to be sorry. We're waiting for the other person to make things right. And so we may say that oh, it's okay. But in the back of our minds, we're waiting for something else to happen, or we're waiting for that person to do something. In that regard, we completely give up our power to forgive because we've put it in the hands of someone else. We're waiting for someone else to take care of it. We're waiting for someone else to do something. And so I want to invite you to let go of everything you've been taught about forgiveness. I want you to just put it aside. If you don't like what I have to say, then you can take it back up and walk away. But I want you to think for a minute what else could be true. I believe that forgiveness is directly connected to our ego and what we need, and that our ability to forgive is then based on our ability to let go of those needs. Now, I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to say something, and I really need you to take me seriously. If you have not watched the first video, I need you to go back. I need you to go back and watch that, because I lay out very clearly some pretty awful things that happened to me. So I need you to understand that I've had some grievous things to forgive, and it took me, I'm 60, it took me 45, 50 years to figure this out, and I've only really worked through the bulk of it in the last 2 or 3. And when I had this aha moment, this is why I'm sharing this with you. So I want you to think about how forgiveness is not connected to us pardoning people. It isn't connected to all the things that we've taught. It's directly connected to our ego and our need. And you may say, well, Need? What need? I don't need anything. Yeah, you do. So here's what our needs are. We need, and you may need some of these, or you may need none of these, but they fall in one of these categories. The first thing that we may need is justice. I need that person to be punished. I need them to be outed. I need them to be caught, arrested, kicked out of the club. I need them to get a ticket. I need them to get in trouble. They should pay me back, or they should make things right, or whatever. We want justice. We need justice. We may say we forgive, but when we think about it, we're still angry. We're still hurting. We're still upset about it. The other thing we may need is revenge. I want to hurt them. I want them to hurt like I hurt. I want them to feel what I feel. They need to suffer. That is another need. And again, these are active things that we need. We want these things to happen. Or the third thing, which can be a little more passive, is that I think they should apologize. I forgive them, but they really ought to apologize for that. Or at the very least, they should act like they're sorry, or they should admit that what they did was wrong. And so we either need justice, we need them to suffer some kind of justice, or we need them to suffer revenge, or we need them to take an action. These are needs that we have in relationship to forgiveness. So you hurt my feelings, or I hurt your feelings. And I say I forgive you, but I still feel this thing. I need something. And most of the time, we don't think about it. We think we're bad people because we still feel angry and that we couldn't let go of it. But you can't let go of something if you don't know what it is you're letting go of. And so I want to put out to you that our inability to forgive, or our struggle with forgiveness, is because we have not thought about or acknowledged what it is we need. And so these are three categories of need that you may experience that makes it impossible or difficult for you to let go and forgive. But there's another thing, and I think it's probably an umbrella over these three needs, but it's called closure. And I will tell you that I see a lot of women who are, oh, well, I just want closure. Well, it's a myth, because what you really need is one of those three things, or you want the last word, or you thought of, I mean, we've all done this, right? We've had an argument, we got into it with somebody, and when it's all over, we thought about something we wish we would. Oh, I thought of a zinger. Oh, I really wish I could have said this thing to that person. Yeah, so go back to, what do you need? You need revenge. I need to say to them something that will hurt them. So again, closure is a myth. So what really is forgiveness? What is forgiveness? I don't think of forgiveness as a feeling. It is an action, and we keep expecting to feel like we've forgiven the other person. We felt bad for so long because we're so angry or hurt by what they've done, that now we're looking for kind of a feeling of love and love for the world, and oh, I feel so much better. But we're so angry that we can't really move past it. And so when we say, oh, I've forgiven them, but I can't forget, well, I don't think forgiveness has anything to do with forgetting. I think forgetting comes because we let go of our need for justice. What we can't forget is what we think we need justice for. So the reality is that releasing our need for justice or revenge or an action is going to provide us with peace, which is the good feeling we're after. But we don't notice that we feel peace if we haven't actually forgiven, because we're still looking for that need to be filled. So I want you to think about forgiveness as an action of letting go of your need. Now, before I get into exactly how I think that is done, I want to cover something. And we, as women, and I guess men struggle with this too, is the thought of being, how do I be powerful? Well, if I'm powerful, that means I'm forceful. That means I'm aggressive. That means I say what I think. Well, it can be all of those things where you are forceful or powerful or assertive, or you do say what you think, but we rarely put the ability to forgive in with powerful. But I want you to think about someone that you're struggling to forgive. And I want you to think about how absolutely locked up you are in your anger, your hurt, your resentment, the pain you may feel. You're so bound to the pain. But those locks are not locked or unlocked by the other person unless you have given up your power to them. Oh, well, and Kat just said it. The peace isn't theirs to give you. The peace is not theirs to give you. Your decision to let go of your need is what gives you peace. But we think of it as weakness, but the weakness is our addiction to our need for revenge, our need for restitution, our need for justice, our need for them to say they're sorry. So this isn't weakness. The strength, if forgiveness was weakness, wouldn't it be easy? I mean, if it was a weakness to forgive people, then we could really all just do it, but it's not. And so in a perfect world, this is something I want you to think about. In a perfect world, you would forgive because you acknowledge that that other person is God. God is in that person, whether they acknowledge it or not. We're all part of the universe and we all have God in us. And you would forgive because you are united with this person. We're all sharing the same souls, right, with God. But it isn't always that easy, right? So this concept here is, in my mind, a way to forgive that acknowledges your needs. I'm not going to forgive you because you deserve it. Your ability to deserve it then means that it's out of my control because you have to say or do or be something that is deserving of my forgiveness. I'm going to forgive you because I deserve it. I deserve peace. I deserve to let go of the chains of these things that have hurt me. I deserve to live in love. I deserve to release my mind from the bondage to the pain that was inflicted on me. So how do we do that? How do we accomplish this? Again, if you haven't watched the first video, please watch it because I want you and need you to understand that this was a horrific journey for me to figure out how to forgive several people who did some pretty heinous things to me and my family, to my mother, to me, my daughter. I mean, it took me years to walk through this. But here is, I've tried to make it pretty simple. The first thing is you need to acknowledge how you feel. Nice girl training, particularly for women, nice girl training teaches us that we can't feel angry. I can't feel mad at you. Oh, it's okay. Oh, I know you didn't mean it. Oh, what we make excuses for other people's behavior. I want you to stop doing that, first of all. Yeah, they hurt me. No, you hurt me. I don't like how you acted. I recognize that you did something that hurts me. And then dig into that feeling. You're not going to die from how you feel. You're going to die from the consequences of what you made, the choices you may make to self-sabotage yourself, to treat yourself badly, to not take care of yourself or whatever. But your feelings, dig into them, sit in them for a moment, grieve as you need to, and then choose to take another step forward, right? So acknowledge how you feel. I felt so small when those girls shunned me I felt so angry when my spouse did this thing. I felt really small and insignificant when this happened, or stupid, or I felt violated. I felt whatever I felt, and I still feel that way. So acknowledge it, own it. It won't go away until you do. And then figure out what it is you need. For me, I needed justice. I needed the people who had done bad things to serve justice, to pay justice. Well, okay, so guess what? One of them went to prison for what they did. I still didn't feel forgiveness because I was looking for a feeling. I was still chained to the pain. I was still chained to my pain and not being able to forgive myself for some things that happened. Okay, so we're chained to pain. We're chained to an inability to forgive for a variety of reasons. But we also have to remember to forgive ourselves. So my need was to blame myself for my role in what happened. My need was they needed to be served justice. Well, they got served justice and I still didn't feel forgiving. Wow, so what else is that? Oh, wait, I had to forgive myself. And then I had to say, this isn't about them, what they did being right or wrong. It's not about that at all. It's about my need to have, do, or get something so that I feel like things have been made whole. I'm not going to surrender that power anymore. And so I have to label sometimes. Recently in the last probably 3 months, somebody did something that really hurt me. It was in relationship to an animal that we had taken care of, that hospice rescued and adopted and had to be put down. And there were 2 or 3 people who did some things that were very hurtful when we had to choose to put this beloved pet down. And man, I didn't realize I was angry with them for weeks. And I realized that my need was to say something, the last word. How dare you? Who do you think you are? Blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't able to let go of that need to get that last word in. And so my ability to forgive them, and this isn't about did they even do something wrong? I felt like they had done something wrong. And so I had to let go of my anger. I had to let go of my need for the last word. Again, we think that it's a subjective thing that, well, what if I took it wrong and they didn't actually mean to hurt my feelings? Are you hurt? Well, then you need to release your need and forgive whether they meant to hurt you or not. Okay, so you've got to acknowledge how you feel. I feel this way. And then you have to label these needs. What are these needs I have? The need may be justice, restitution, revenge. They need to say they're sorry, whatever. You've got to let that go. And so that's, once you label them, then you have to let go. Therein lies the difficulty, right? I still have to let go. I have to let go all the time of things that I'm trying to let go of. There are some things that have been forgiven that I have completely forgiven and released my need, all right? There are some things that I'm still working on forgiveness, but it doesn't come down to them. It's not, they don't control me. They don't control my peace. They don't control my ability to forgive, because the minute we wait for somebody else to do something, that's when we give up our power. So let me summarize. We're going to go back. Here we go. Forgiveness is an action. We have to step away from, I need to feel a certain way, because you're going to feel what you're going to feel. And you've got to start thinking about what is it that you're needing in terms of being able to forgive somebody. Because forgiveness isn't pardoning what they've done. Forgiveness is letting go of your need for either justice or revenge, or for them to do something. And then finally, we're all going to get whiplash going back and forth between these slides. Finally, these 3 steps, I believe, will take you to peace. Acknowledge how you feel. Own it, feel it. Don't become the feeling. For a long time, I became the feeling of anger and resentment. Don't do that. I now feel the feeling and then say, okay, what happens next? Okay, next is I've got to label my needs. And then I have to let go of those needs. I don't condone what some people have done. That's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is about releasing my needs. Now, what I want to do is I want to have y'all think about, do you have any questions relative to this? I'm happy to answer those questions. I know y'all have commented, well, you know, I thought of a question later. Well, if you think of a question later, post it and I'll answer it. If you have a private question, you're welcome to message me. But I want you to have peace. You deserve peace. The one infinite creator wants us to live in love and service. And again, just remember, this isn't about condoning or approving or accepting behaviors. It's about us releasing our need for the things that I've talked about today. So the other thing I want to talk about, and someone made a comment earlier this week, while y'all think of if you have any question, is be careful about things that are not yours to forgive. I saw a conversation where someone would say, well, I just don't think I could ever forgive them for doing that to the other person. You know, your ability to forgive should really only relate to what's done to you. So if somebody hurts my friend Kat, it's not mine to forgive. And so how much of that crap are you carrying around where you're mad at someone else for something they did to someone else? Or you're mad, you know, about things that don't have anything to do with you, and I just don't think I could ever forgive that. Okay, be careful that you don't fall into the trap of thinking things that don't happen to you are not yours to forgive. That's not your place. Your place for forgiveness is what happens to you. And you may still feel anger and resentment to the other person for having hurt someone you love, but be careful that you're not owning or taking on the need to forgive someone for something that isn't yours to forgive. So, all right, let me say hi to everybody first. So let me say hi, Kat and Lori, and it was good to see Lynn, Carolyn, and Susan, and I don't think I've missed anybody. I don't see any questions either. So I will just say, please know that I am doing personal coaching. It is $40 an hour, and we can do it on any video platform you like, and we can work on anything that you would like. So I am delighted that everybody checked in today. I don't see any questions, and I'm not going to belabor this. So until we get together again, my dear friends, you have been zinced.